If you are a blogger who is looking to get traffic from Pinterest, but you are frustrated and struggling because you are not seeing results, then this video is for you. So you might find yourself spending hours and hours creating these gorgeous Pinterest pins and not seeing the results that you're hoping for. You're not getting the clicks, but you are looking at these other Pinterest pins that people are creating and they don't look as good as yours, but they are getting a ton of clicks. Well, here's the thing. Pinterest might not be as complicated as you are making it out to be, because it is not all about creating the prettiest and most perfect Pinterest pin. It is all about making clickable and eye-catching pins using keyword research and making sure that your pins show up in the right places. So for today's video, I'm going to give you the tips and tricks that have been working for me and my clients for years that will help you stand out on the feed and help you finally grow your blog traffic using Pinterest. And before we get into the technical side of designing and posting pins, let's address some of the huge mistakes that beginners might be making. Now, Pinterest users are looking for a solution to their problems, and they are not interested in waiting around to get it. And with so much content and so many answers on the platform at their fingertips, they don't really have to. Which means if you don't have an eye-catching title that is going to capture their attention really, really quickly and tell them exactly what they're going to get if they click on the other side of that pin, then they are not going to click on your pin and they are going to scroll right by it. Most people, at least the audience that we are targeting as bloggers, are not looking for pretty Pinterest vibes and wedding board inspiration. They are looking for answers. So you want to make sure that your text isn't too flashy and it's not too hard to read. Make it bold and easy to read at a glance. Also, you want to make sure that you're using phrases on your Pinterest pin that you know your audience is searching for. Things like how to start a blog, easy dinner ideas, side hustles from home, how to make money online, stuff like that. Keywords. Now, you'd obviously want to get more creative than that because those are really boring titles, but the main part of your post should be pretty clear pretty quick. Think of your pin as basically a tiny billboard for your post. You want people to look at it and go, I need that, and click on it immediately. And if it doesn't do that in like 2 seconds, they are going to keep scrolling. All right, so here's actually a strategy that I follow for me and my clients. Which, by the way, if you are looking for help with your Pinterest pins and you don't have the time or energy to do all of this yourself, I am booking clients for my Pinterest management services. I basically am going to take care of all of the hard back-end work, doing the keyword research, setting up your account properly, creating and posting Pinterest pins, all of the hard stuff that you are going to be learning about in this video. But if you decide you don't want to do any of that, I offer the Pinterest management services where I post brand new pins for you every single day so that you can focus on other areas of your business. And if you're interested in that, I will leave the link to that down below in the description. But if you want to try this strategy out for yourself, step 1 is starting with a clear promise. This comes from your title, which we talked a little bit about already. So your pin title needs to be painfully clear, but it also needs to be interesting. So if you just do something like my blogging journey, work from home ideas, Pinterest tips, those are keywords, but they're not very interesting. So you want to spice it up a little bit and do something like how I made $1,000 from my blog in 30 days. The beginner's guide to starting a blog from scratch. 10 Pinterest tips that doubled my traffic. The same idea is there, but it draws more attention. If someone knows instantly what they're going to get, they're way more likely to click. So that's why list posts do really well, because when people see 10 ideas for blah, 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 they know they're going to get 10 ideas. They know exactly what to expect when they click on your post. So when you are writing your titles, ask yourself, would a stranger understand this within a few seconds? And if the answer is no, then rewrite your title. The next thing is to make your text big and readable. Now, this might sound really simple, but this is where most pins fail. You don't want to have tiny fonts, you don't want to be using too much cursive, and you don't want to be using colors that don't pop, so like white text on a beige background. People are going to be on their phones usually, and the pins are very, very small. Even on the computer, the pins are not much bigger. So your text needs to be readable from far away. So think bold fonts, high contrast colors, and not a lot of text. If someone has to squint to read your text, you've already lost the click. When I design in Canva, I tend to zoom out 25% when I'm done designing so that I can see, can I read it at that size? And if I can't, then I need to change it. And I usually have much of my text take up the pin because that works for my niche. Unless you're in a niche where the photo needs to take the center stage, then you can have your text a little bit smaller. But feel free to take up as much space on the pin as you need for your text when it feels appropriate. Step 3 is you want to design for contrast, not perfection. Now, this one changed everything for me. You don't need a perfectly blended aesthetic. You don't necessarily need a brand. You want contrast, because contrast is what is going to stop the scroll. So that could mean having dark text on a light background, bright colors, white space, big bold text, simple layouts. Kind of some of the stuff that we talked about already. Sometimes the most boring pins are the ones that are going to get the most clicks. I've had these super cute, beautiful designs that have taken a lot of time absolutely flop, and the most simple ones are the ones that do the best. Pinterest really rewards clarity and not art. So just stop over designing your pins. Super simple wins every single time. And don't be afraid to try out different designs as well. Sometimes I will just use a plain color background with a bunch of text, no pictures, no fanciness, nothing, and those are the pins that sometimes do the best for me and my clients, of course, depending on the niche. Sometimes the text will be the main thing on the screen while the photo is very visible, but if you're doing something like cooking, obviously you need to show the pictures more than the text, text, so then I will do a pin that looks like this instead. Don't be afraid to switch it up, see what other people in your niche are doing as well, and see what people respond to. Step number 4 is to use curiosity without clickbait. The without clickbait part is essential. Now, you want to make people need to know more about your Pinterest pin. If you put so much information on your Pinterest pin that people are like, you've told me everything that I need to know on this pin, they're not likely going to click. So that's where you need to add a little bit of intrigue. So your titles could be something like 5 things nobody tells you about blogging, 10 mistakes new bloggers make. But the fine line here is if you make your title so interesting and the content that they get behind it is not as interesting, that's called clickbait, and that is going to hurt you in the long run. So you want a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of honesty, and that is going to get you far on this platform. Step 5 is making sure you create multiple versions of the same Pinterest pin. This is the part that most people skip, and it is probably my biggest growth hack. One blog post should not get one pin and then you never post it again. You should be posting 5, 10, even 20 pins for the exact same blog post, and they all should look different. You should have different titles, different colors, different designs, different photos, and they can all make brand new Pinterest pins for the exact same content. Getting results on Pinterest is basically just testing what people are going to like the most, seeing what people respond to. So make sure to give people some options. Sometimes my worst designs become my best performers, and that's the same for me and my clients. You literally cannot predict what is going to do well on Pinterest. So don't try to predict it and just test some more. And once you find a design that works, just do a bunch of different copies of that same design, but switch it up a little bit, and you're going to do really well and be able to post a lot of content really quickly with not a lot of work. And these are the same exact tips and strategy that I use for my clients' accounts and my accounts as well, and it works really, really well. But of course, if you don't want to do any of this by yourself, make sure to check out the Pinterest management services down below in the description. But if you want a simple breakdown of my exact workflow, here's exactly what I do. Every blog post, I'm going to open up Canva and I'm going to create 3 to 5 templates, and I'm going to post 6 to 10 links, depending on how many pins I want to post every single day. And then I swap out the title, the photo, and the color for every single link. And then I am done posting and creating pins in like an hour for the week. Doesn't take a lot of overthinking. And that's it. Pinterest rewards consistency over perfection. So speed is going to matter more than fancy design skills. So some of the easy common mistakes that you want to be avoiding when you're creating pins on Pinterest is having too many words on your pin with small unreadable text, low contrast colors, so you want to avoid dull colors that are pretty boring to the eye. You have no clear benefit on your pin of why somebody would want to click through based off of your title, and you only make one pin of the post and you never share it again. If you aren't getting clicks, it's usually one of these problems. So fix these first before you decide that Pinterest does not work for you. And if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Your pin's job is not to be pretty, it's to be clear, bold, and irresistible. You want to think of it as a billboard, not like artwork. And if you would like, I already have some Pinterest pin templates that I have optimized and available in my shop, and I will leave the link to those down below in the description as well, so that you don't even have to think about the design part, and you just have to worry about the titles and the descriptions of your pins. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!